From the ruins of Troy, Aeneas gathered the survivors. Not soldiers now, but refugees. They loaded what little they could save onto ships and set out on a sea that did not yet know where to send them. They sailed without a fixed destination, guided only by a prophecy that the Trojans would found a great city in a land called Italy. The road there the gods hadn't made clear, but there was a goddess who despised the Trojans. Juno, queen of the gods, had favored the Greeks in the war, and she was not finished with her anger. She watched the fleet sail and made a choice. Juno went to Aeneas, the keeper of the winds, and offered him a reward, a beautiful sea nymph as his wife, in exchange for one favor: unleash the storms on Aeneas' fleet. Aeneas agreed. He struck his staff against the mountain's heart and released what he kept chained there. The winds screamed out of their cave and hurled themselves at the sea. The storm hit without warning. Waves the height of mountains fell on the fleet. Ships were thrown sideways, separated, driven helplessly across the water. Aeneas could do nothing but hold his own ship together. He watched helplessly as the fleet was scattered across the dark water, each ship swallowed by a different wave. But the sea had its own ruler, and Neptune had not been consulted. He felt the disruption in his waters, Juno's storm tearing through what was his, and he rose to see what had been done. Neptune commanded the storm to stop. He rebuked the winds for overstepping their bounds and sent them back to their cave. The sea, obedient to its own lord, went calm. Aeneas stood at the rail and counted his ships. Most were still afloat, battered, dismasted, low in the water, but afloat. He exhaled for what felt like the first time in hours. They made for the nearest shore, a coast none of them recognized. They dragged the ships onto the beach, lit fires, and gathered around them, wet and exhausted, in a land with no name they knew. Exile is often the beginning of destiny. Aeneas had lost his city, his wife, and now his course. What lay ahead of him on that unknown coast was the long road to something the gods had always intended, but never made easy.